This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is being powered by Kolossal Games, who currently has an awesome Victorian horror-themed competitive deck builder on Kickstarter currently called Terrors of London. They're over 500% funded, and there's still 12 days or 11 days to get in on this, as the project doesn't end until Sunday the 19th of August. So definitely check out Terrors of London by Kolossal Games. Now, we join Game Relief in his interview already in progress with Craig to talk all about gaming and a new game that's on Kickstarter.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Ricky Henderson, Ty Cobb, Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, Pete Rose, Willie Mays, Alex Rodriguez, Cap Anson, and Stan Musial.
Did those names sound familiar to you guys? Some of them did to me, some of them didn't, but those sounded like baseball names to me. And tonight we're lucky enough to have on the creator mastermind behind All-Star Lineup Baseball, fast-paced tabletop baseball, a new game that's currently on Kickstarter. Is that correct? Is that how you fall in line with All-Star Lineup Baseball, Craig?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it, Craig. Now, before we get into what your game is and everything, let's rewind a little bit. We don't have to go back too terribly far, of course, unless you were born into tabletop board gaming. But how did you get started into playing tabletop board games, Craig?
Well, it was always something that my dad had hanging around. He had one All-Star Baseball that I would always pull out and mess with and play when I was a kid. So, and I played baseball as a kid, huge baseball fan. Growing up in Oklahoma, didn't have a professional baseball team to go see, but definitely followed followed the games and leagues and everything. And so I was into it and kind of, being somewhere where I couldn't go to the ballpark, played every way I could, both on the field and then also off the field on the tabletop. So it was just kind of something that, before video games came along, that's what you had to do. So that's how I kind of fell in love with the tabletop side of it.
Well, there you go. Awesome. So has it always been just baseball games, or have you played other tabletop board games?
Oh, no. But baseball's been my favorite sport since I can remember. So I've done football, probably like every kid that grew up in the 60s and 70s. We had that football game that vibrated. All the players scooted around the field and knocked each other over and stuff. We thought that was, the height of technology at that point in time. But, just a little bit of everything. Anything I can get my hands on that was sports related, we played it.
Awesome. So besides All-Star Lineup Baseball, because it would let you pick your own game, I'm not sure what my fans would think. Besides that, do you have a favorite sports game out there then?
I've played a lot of Stratomatic baseball. I've played a lot of, like I said, All-Star Baseball. Most recently, History Maker Baseball has been one that I've spent some time with. And of course, there and along the way in college and everywhere else, I was, deep into D&D for a while and some other things. So, various types of tabletop games, Catan and some other ones I've played a lot of. So kind of a mixed bag.
Oh, okay, so a big mix. Awesome, yeah. So we've had D&D players and whatnot. No, it's not too terribly much with the sports, but I liked what you have going on there. So that's really cool. And you said you've been into sports for a long time as well.
Yeah. I mean, I played just about everything growing up, but baseball is the one that I gravitated towards the most.
Awesome. Yeah, I never really got into baseball. I was more along with basketball, and I couldn't never get into watching baseball or not. I think I had a couple of baseball cards here and there, but my main hang up was basketball.
In ninth grade, I was the tallest kid on the team, and in 10th grade, everybody grew but me. So that kind of killed my basketball love at that point in time. It's no fun going up for a layup and all you see is hands in your face. So
there you go. So you turned over to baseball. Did you play a certain position in the field? I don't even know all the different ones. I know some of them, but
yeah. I played third base, center field, and I was a relief pitcher too. So I played all the way up through high school, and then didn't play in college because I just, I wasn't going to go pro or anything, so there wasn't a point in taking it too far.
That's awesome. And so did they ever get a professional baseball team there in Oklahoma?
No, but they did finally get a professional basketball team. They got the Oklahoma City Thunder now.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Unfortunately for my parents, I've been living in Texas since I was about 21 or so, and I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. So,
oh, that's not good.
They love their team, and I love mine, so it's all right.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I grew up in Utah, and we didn't really have a professional baseball team. But then when I joined the Air Force, we moved out to just across the river from St. Louis. And I think that year, in fact, I want to say that they ended up winning the World Series, or they were in it or something. I don't remember, though. Yeah, the Cardinals. Yeah, so that's awesome. So now, let's see here. Now, the word on the street is that you have a new game on Kickstarter. Before we get into that, let's pause for a moment for some other great games that are on Kickstarter currently for our Kickstarter Corner. Just be a moment.
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leaves computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leaves.
We've got some old ones and some new ones on Kickstarter Corner. Glad you're still around with us. First off is Clustered 2nd Edition, a strategic card game. This one, the Leafs, we previewed Edition 1, as well as I had Scotty on the podcast to talk all about it. But anyways, in Clustered 2nd Edition, you battle your opponents by placing cards with matching attributes next to each other. Can you out-strategize everyone to win? Well, can you? This one, at the time of recording, had about 46 hours left to go, so by the time you hear it, it'll probably have about 46 or less hours to go, depending. Anyways, if you want to check that out, I would definitely jump on and look at the Kickstarter page for Cluster. We'll leave all the links in the show notes. Definitely check this one out, as it was pretty fun. Next, another one that's ending in about 3 days as well is Incoming Transmission, a cooperative sci-fi pixel board game by Magic Meeple Games. A while back ago, we had both the designer as well as the publisher of this great game on. I would definitely go back and listen to that episode. But anyways, Incoming Transmission is a 16-bit inspired cooperative puzzle game for 2 to 5 players or more. It takes about 10 to 30 minutes, and it's by the designer of Fire of Eidolon. I would definitely check this out for the pixelated meeples. It looks like there's several of them available now, as well as the box. As the box, it reminded me so much of the box of the Super Nintendo. A little bit of nostalgia going on, if you ask me, and I might try to get this just for the box. Looks awesome on the shelf, but the game play sounds awesome as well. Next is Villains and Henchmen. Had the creator of this on as well. We had talked to Ben a while back ago. Go back and listen to the episode. But Villains and Henchmen is a board game for 1 to 4 players, where you get to be the bad guys and you're actually trying to break one villain out of a super high security prison, and everybody who gets it's 95% cooperative. So you get the prisoner out, but whoever has the most points at the end gets to be the villain. Everybody else is henchmen. So try to become the villains. Otherwise, you'll just be the lonely henchman. This one goes for another 12 days, ending on Sunday the 19th of August. Definitely check out Villains and Henchmen by Ravensdale Publishing. Samuel Connery, a former agent in the Pinkerton Detective Agency. Sam was the kind of guy without too much patience for stupidity. A stellar gunslinger, a perfectionist, and a moonshiner. As it turned out, the world went tits up over the night. I had my gun and my learnings. Life as a Pinkerton agent taught me one thing. Every now and then, people will do stupid things, so you better be ready to sort things out. This is one of the great Who's in Moonshiners of the Apocalypse, which is currently on Kickstarter. Not so cooperative board game for 1 to 4 players set in post-apocalyptic world. But there's a twist to this game. They were initially going for $25,000 and they're at $106,000 with 15 days to go. So definitely check out Moonshiners of the Apocalypse going through Thursday the 23rd of August. Next is Necrotopia, Handbook of the Apocalypse. You might have heard our interview with Keenan a while back ago talking about Necrotopia. If not, go back and listen to it. But Necrotopia is a pen and paper role-playing game. They're releasing a complete 30-page color rule set book with the original artwork. Definitely check out Necrotopia, Handbook to the Apocalypse, going through the 26th of August. Next, this one might be new to you. I know it was new to me, but Confluence by Cosmic Mirror Games. Yes, sir, Bob, it's Confluence, Cosmic Mirror Games core rulebook. There's 10 worlds, 1 game, endless possibilities. Confluence is the core rulebook for the Cosmic Mirror Games settings and systems. This one is going for about 3 weeks, ending on the 29th of August. Definitely check it out. I love the artwork in this, and quite a while back ago, we had Dane from Cosmic Mirror Games on. Hopefully we'll be able to get him on again, talk to him all about this new core rulebook that he's got going on. But I would definitely scroll through the Kickstarter page and check out the wonderful art for Confluence, Cosmic Mirror Games core rulebook, and if you like what you see, go ahead and back this great game from Dane. Like I said, hopefully we'll get him on the show. And it's got about 3 weeks to go, so definitely check out Confluence, Cosmic Mirror Games core rulebook by Dane. Next, if you know anything about Game Relief, you know I like Cthulhu. Well, there's actually, they say there's an app for that, but not in this case. There's actually a calendar for that. The Year of the Cthulhu, a 2019 calendar. That's right. It's a calendar featuring Cthulhu and other mythos strangeness, featuring the artwork of Avengi Molonshevkov. Hopefully I didn't slaughter that. Go ahead and check out the Kickstarter page. But there's 12 fantastic images for 2019. They have reached their goal, so it's going to be a done deal. It's from New Comic Games, who's created 10 successful projects previously. And this project has 23 more days to go as they end on Thursday the 30th of August. So definitely check out The Year of the Cthulhu, a 2019 calendar. Next is Dark Naga's OSR Haunting of Hastur modules. All 5 parts of the Haunting of Hastur series in print for the OSR. They're about halfway to their goal, and you can help them over the next 25 days as this project goes through the 2nd of September. Definitely go ahead and scroll through and check out the Dark Naga OSR Haunting of Hastur modules. Coming to you from Dark Naga Adventures. They're back and better than ever. Next, last but not least, at least this time, is Afterverse, a sci-fi tabletop RPG. Afterverse is a sci-fi tabletop RPG featuring an expanse and versatile world and the D6 Bank game system by Ray. And we had Ray on the show. Well, you haven't heard him yet, but we interviewed him, and we're going to have him on the show. Right now, they're getting pretty close to their goal, and they're still 28 days to go. They'll go through the 4th of September. So definitely go ahead and check that out. I like this even just for the cover. It looks amazing. But definitely check out Afterverse, sci-fi tabletop RPG, currently on the Kickstarters. Now we'll get you back to the interview that you've been waiting for. So, yeah, like I said before, the break, Craig, you have a new game on Kickstarter. What can you tell us about All-Star Lineup Baseball, fast-paced tabletop baseball?
Well, I'll tell you the reason that this is in the video that I have on the site, but the reason that I made the game, the one thing that's always kind of frustrated me about tabletop baseball in particular is you have two schools of thought. One is, let's make a game that's fun to play. And so you end up with a game that's kind of more slanted towards kids or casual fans. Basically, you roll the dice, things happen, but there's not a lot of relation to realistic statistics, right? The game it's just fun to play. And then you have the other side of that, which is, let's make it as realistic as possible, and let's make sure that we use real world statistics so that you have guys who will roll up entire seasons. They'll replay the 1965, season, or the 69 Mets. They'll replay that season in its entirety, and they'll keep score, and they'll keep their stats and everything. So there's a very, and this is not an insulting term, but there's the very, baseball nerdy side of it that says, let's make it realistic. And then there's the fun side that says, let's make it fun. And those two sides are kind of hard to make meet. So my goal was to make that meet in the middle, because the common thing that happens with the more statistics-driven games is that, let's say you roll the dice and you want to see if you got a base hit, you had to go look up a chart, or you had to pull a table up or look at the instruction book to figure out, where you hit it to, what happened with the play. And it was kind of like playing baseball on a delay. So it kind of made it to where it was like watching the game instead of playing the game. And I wanted to be more involved in playing the game, so everything was available to you right there on the desktop. You don't have to go looking for anything. So that's kind of what drove me to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember you bringing that up in your Kickstarter video that's on there in the first couple minutes. So that's awesome. I know when I sit down to play a tabletop board game, if you listen to any of the podcasts or whatnot, a lot of times I bring up how much I hate rule books. Like, I hate going back, having to turn back to them or whatnot. And it sounds like that's what you did with this game, making it so everything's straight there at the table. So per se, me and you sat down to play All-Star Lineup Baseball, Craig. How would that, how does that play go, or what would our turns look like?
Well, and I'll just say that's the other thing too. I wanted to make it to where it was a great game to play head to head across the table from somebody. A lot of baseball tabletop gaming is solitaire. A lot of guys play by themselves. This is made to be a lot of fun head to head. But basically, we set up a lineup of 9 players each. You'd have yours, I'd have mine. We both have a starting pitcher out there on the tabletop. We roll dice. Basically, it's centered around the battle between the batter and the pitcher. That's the main contest in baseball. There's a documentary called Fastball that I recommend, but the guy that made it says there's something primal about this confrontation between a man with a rock and a man with a stick. So it's basically pitcher versus batter. We roll our dice. Whoever wins that roll has control. You then would check either the batter's player card or the pitcher's player card to see what the outcome was of that roll. So it's very much like a game where you get the initiative when you roll. It's kind of like that.
Okay, so like D&D kind of.
Yeah, whoever wins that initial roll has the initiative, and then they check their card to see what the outcome was.
Awesome. And are all the players set up in your game, or do you bring your own players who you liked in the baseball leagues, or how does that look?
Well, the game, as it ships, is going to come with, or comes, when I say going to come with, it starts shipping in September, but it'll come with 4 teams, the World Series teams from 2016 and 2017. In addition to that, you can order additional sets of teams from our site. So I'm going to have top 10 teams, basically the postseason teams, but you can order those sets, and you can also order an entire season. So 10 teams or 30 team sets for each year. And then you can go back as far as you want. And then we'll probably do some special sets as well. But, yeah, and those are shipped to you on full color cards that are already perforated, ready to go. You just punch them out, and so that's what you play with. That was Cubs and Indians and Houston and the Dodgers. So you get those teams to start with, start playing with, and you can go from there. Now, it's important. The one thing I've done here that's a little bit different is I've made a demo of the game. It's fully playable that you can download on the Kickstarter site. But I want you to go ahead and play the game in basic game mode. And then that way you get an idea what it's like. And then hopefully you want to order the full game.
Oh, okay. So awesome. So try it before you buy it or something.
Yeah, kind of like doing shareware with software, right?
There you go. Awesome. And so when they download it, is this something that they would need to print? Like, is it a print and play, or is it something they play online?
Yeah, it'd be a print and play. Basically, you need to print out the player cards, probably the score sheet, a couple of things, but it's not extensive. It's just a few pages. You can play it that way. The difference is what you download and what you print and play are going to be black and white. There's no color involved with those, and color is a big part of my game. And we can get into that more later, but you can play the game with no problem with the print and play versions of it and get a feel for what the game's like.
Okay, awesome. And so you say color has a big thing to do with it. So somebody backs your game. How is the color going to affect them?
And you can see the video on my site. But when you play the game, we do the pitcher batter roll, and then you roll a D20, and then you compare that D20 to either the pitcher or the batter's card, whoever won that contest, right? And it'll tell you if the batter won, it'll say it's a single or it's a double or a triple or home run or whatever it is, right? So that's the basic functionality of the game. And then you have either you keep track of it with the materials when you download it. If you have the full version of the game, 14 by 24 neoprene playmat, a full color playmat that has spots for the lineup, it has the field for you to keep track of the batter's positions on the base path, the runner's position on the base paths. It's got someplace to keep track of innings, of outs, everything on the desktop. So that's part of what you get. Now, the cards themselves, color is used to code their batting skill, their pitching skill, their stolen base ability, their fielding ability, and then we also include the ability to, you can tell if they're left-handed or right-handed, so you can bring that into play. So there's a lot of functionality the color brings in without having to add additional charts or anything else to the game.
Awesome. And you talked about fielding ability. Does that go into play somehow? Because you said it was just mainly the batter against the pitcher.
Right. But once you've got somebody, let's say I get a single, so I put my batter, runner's now on base, I go to the next batter. He hits a grounder to shortstop. Okay. In the basic game mode, the one you can download, you'll just roll to see if they were safe or out. Right. And the batter's going to be out, but you wonder, okay, was there a double play? Because there's a runner on first. And so you check to see if there's a double play by rolling a die and checking it that way. In the advanced version of the game, you've got the colors to compare. So basically, there's 3 colors in the game without getting too deep into it here because it's hard to explain quickly this way. But you have average ability, you have above average ability and below average ability. So your above average stuff, call it +1, and below average, call it -1, where average would be 0. So you can figure out who has the advantage for the play. So if you're doing a double play to the shortstop, the play would go shortstop to second base to first base. So you would take the fielding ability of the shortstop, the fielding ability of the second baseman, add them together, see if they have the advantage or not, and you'd compare that to the runner's stolen base ability, their speed, so to speak. So you come up with, and you can do it visually in really quickly because you don't have to look at a chart. You can just say, oh, I probably shouldn't have him steal because he's going to get thrown out by this catcher who actually outranks him. So it's a quick way to get their actual stats and abilities involved without having to dig into, pull a slide rule out and calculate whether or not they stole base or got thrown out.
Awesome. So when I'm thinking about it, just as you talk about it and looking at the Kickstarter page, it almost reminds me of like you talked about D&D and whatnot. It reminds me of a role-playing game mixed with baseball, and it's all right there on the cards in front of you.
It is a little bit. I mean, I guess that comes from my having played some of those types of games so much. But yeah, and I did really, once I got into it, I realized I was basically creating initiative for the next role. So that's what if you're looking at it from a D&D standpoint, that's what it would be. But all the data, all the information on the cards, all the colors, everything, they're all based on the real world stats of big league players.
During playtesting, was there ever anything that you had to scrap for the game because it just wouldn't work?
Oh, yeah. I had some cards in there that I was using to change different outcomes. And there are several things that had to go along the way. And there's things that, when I came up with the idea of using the color stuff, I had to completely redesign the cards, that took me weeks to do. So yeah, just like anything else. I mean, but if you want to make it, you want to make it right, you got to go, put in the effort and make it happen.
Awesome. And when it comes to all-star lineup baseball, fast-paced tabletop baseball, what would you say the thing you're most proud about that is, Craig?
I would say the card design, and the fact that I stuck true to my goal, which was to make it to where you don't have to refer to extra charts and everything else. You can literally play the game with what's in front of you.
Now, there's so many games on Kickstarter currently. Why should they take a chance on All-Star Lineup Baseball, fast-paced tabletop baseball, especially with all the other great games on Kickstarter currently?
They probably don't have a baseball game, and they definitely don't have one like this. This is one, I'm doing it right. As I said, it's shipping with a full-color 14x24 neoprene playmat. It's shipping with full-color cards. Typically in the tabletop baseball genre, so to speak, you're not getting a complete game. A lot of guys will ship a nice box, but they'll have cards that are black and white. You can tell that it's always been a very kind of homegrown feeling, niche, so to speak. So I'm sending out a top-notch product here that has everything you need that is a full game, and as opposed to just sending you something that you can only download or was just parts of a game.
So, like if somebody picks a different season or whatnot, would it always be the people in the World Series? Because in sports, it seems like a lot of people, even if their team doesn't necessarily make it, but they go ahead and pick up a team, and that becomes their favorite team, like you talked about in the basketball and whatnot with you against your parent.
Yeah, no, you'll be able to order any teams you want, any seasons you want, whatever teams you want to pick up.
Oh, okay, awesome. And if they did that, will that delay them getting it because you have to do the research or whatnot and find out who's on their team and stuff?
When they order the game the first time, they're going to get those 4 teams. That's what they're going to get. But they can then order additional teams later down the road.
Awesome. And it sounded like you're going to be able to deliver it pretty soon after they order, after the Kickstarter is done and whatnot.
Yeah. I've got everything sourced. We'll be ready to go in September. So.
Oh, well, that's pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, but I've been at this. I've been working on it for a while, so I didn't launch the Kickstarter until I was close to being done.
Well, there you go. That's pretty good. Awesome. And we'll make sure we leave the links in the show notes so people can go ahead and check it out and whatnot, so they can, if they like what they see, they can go ahead and back it. And that way they don't have to type it in. They can just go ahead and click the link. We'll leave that all there. Now, let's see. Now, I don't know if you've got a chance to listen to any of our podcasts or not. And if not, that's okay. But the next portion of our podcast is called Adventures in Application and Acquisition, where we talk about an app, be it for your cell phone, your tablet, your computer, or even a video game. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be related to tabletop board gaming or baseball for that matter. Is there an app you use a lot of that we can talk about for a moment, Craig?
I use so many of them. How do you pick one? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm constantly, I'm, since I have so much, obviously it seems like I have a lot of spare time on my hands, but I'm in a couple of tribute bands as well. So a lot of what I use is stuff, I'm constantly on Spotify and other apps like that. Those are pretty basic. No, I haven't, I'm usually looking for apps that are unique and kind of interesting. And lately I haven't had the time. I've been so deep in this.
That's okay. Well, what about the last one? Can you remember the last one that you said you looked for unique ones? What was the last unique one you have on your phone or whatnot, or wherever you use apps?
Actually, the one I started messing with because I'm an Android guy and my daughter uses an iPhone. My wife has an iPhone. So I grabbed a video app called Marco Polo, which is basically, it allows you to video chat no matter what the platform is. It's pretty slick little app. I mean, we don't use it as much as I thought we would, but it's kind of like you send a video, then you wait for response. So it's like video texting, sort of.
Okay, awesome. And is that a free or a paid app?
Yeah, it's free.
Awesome. And you said you can do it across platforms?
Yeah, it works with everything.
Okay, awesome. You said it's called Marco Polo. So if you own the rights to Marco Polo, the app, what would be one thing you would do to fix it or make it better, Craig?
Honestly, I think it's pretty good the way it is. It does what it says it should. Like a lot of apps, they tend to be a little intrusive in terms of wanting you to, whether it's advertising or whatever else it is. But this one's not bad. It's not bad about getting in your way. So I think they've done a pretty good job refining.
I don't know if they want to hear about it, but I know I kind of do though. So I'm going to ask anyway. But you talked about being in tribute bands and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm in a foreigner tribute band called Cold as Ice, and also a ZZ Top tribute band called Trio Loco. Been doing that since 2010. So, and I play guitar and sing.
So how does something like that work? Is it just you play their songs or whatnot, or what's a tribute band compared to a regular band?
Yeah, the tribute band scene in Dallas is out of hand. It's it's kind of out of control. There are a lot of bands that it's primarily centered around bands from the 70s and 80s, but there are tons of bands that go out and play just, instead of like a cover band, will play songs from a bunch of different groups. A tribute band typically will just play one group's songs, and in some cases they'll try to dress like them, to act like them, all that kind of stuff. So there's a really good band here in town called Back in Black. You look them up, they're an AC/DC tribute. Their singer looks like Brian Johnson from AC/DC. Their guitar player, Mike Mraz, he's fantastic. He does the whole Angus Young thing. He looks just like he wears the schoolboy outfit and all that kind of stuff. And they sound exactly like AC/DC. So there's bands that are at that end of it, and there's bands that just basically go out and pay tribute by playing the songs.
Awesome. Where do you guys fit in line?
Kind of in the middle. We've got our current singer looks like the current singer that's touring with Foreigner. So we're kind of in the middle there. But it's one of those things that Foreigner wasn't an easy band to find a singer for. So it's a good niche. People love to hear the music. So,
well, there you go. Awesome. So, minus coming there to Texas to stalk you personally or whatnot, how would people go about keeping up with you and different games you have going on or your tribute singing?
I mean, obviously, the best place, I'm on Facebook. I don't do as much on Twitter as I should because I'm lazy about Twitter. But I'm on Facebook. The bands are all on Facebook, and most of that you can get from if you go to the look up All-Star Lineup Baseball, or my company is Barstool Games. Barstool Games on Facebook. You can find the rest, and the website is barstoolgames.net.
Awesome. And we'll make sure we leave, like I said, we'll leave links in the show notes so people can just go ahead and click them and whatnot. So it looks like you might be making other games, or was it just for the baseball game, or do you have other stuff you might be making after this?
Hey, I've got a couple other ideas. Right now I'm just trying to birth this baby right now as it would be. I'm trying to get this one off the ground, but I've got some ideas for some other stuff. I've got a good idea for a golf game of all things, and football as well. So, but we'll see how long it takes. I do have, I've done some other stuff. I see creating things that already exist a lot of times. And so I created a game I called Barstool Baseball, where you basically try to guess what's going to happen before a batter does anything, and you get points for guessing correctly. I found out that there was actually a company that put out a mobile app for that years ago. They failed, I think primarily because they went and got $7 million of venture capital, and it ate them alive. But so I've got a game that does that and some other things. So I'm dabbling here and there with some other ideas.
Awesome, but we're steering clear of basketball because you got shorter as other people got taller.
Yeah, I'll do basketball at some point. It's probably I like to watch. I'm a last 2 minutes of the game basketball guy. I don't see the point of watching an entire basketball game when it all happens at the end. So, Maybe that's what I'll make. Maybe I'll make a 2-minute basketball game.
There you go. Yeah, from back in the, what do you call it? Back in the late 90s or whatnot, when you got those Isaiah Thomas and stuff, the throw in and shoot or whatnot.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we don't want to keep you all night, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief with us tonight to talk all about all-star lineup baseball, fast-paced tabletop baseball that's on Kickstarter through the end of August, it looks like.
Yeah, through the 31st. No, I appreciate it. And definitely everyone should go and download the demo for sure. Doesn't cost you anything. You can check it out, see what you think.
Awesome. And like I said, we'll leave links in the show notes. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it, Craig.
No problem. Appreciate you.
No problem. Our least favorite time, your least favorite time for us to get on with our lives, you to get on with yours. But in the meantime, go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the geekful. We'll catch y'all on the flip side. Game Relief out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.